Welcome into the Michigan State Hockey Hub. Sorry for the delay. We had Mike Ferrantino on last show, which has now been a couple weeks. Life got a little bit busy. A guest fell through, so we are back today with two guests of the Munsters here, Nathan and Scott. How are you all doing today?
Great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us today.
absolutely. Yeah, sure thing. So I had reached out a while back. I think when was that, Scott? Last year or this past spring?
Probably like last spring, toward the end of the season, we had started communicating, and then it kind of fell through, and we were like, "Oh, let's leave it till next year." Little did we know we'd have an increase in the amount of student section leaders we'd have this year, and also a whole new coaching staff and half a new team to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So excited to have you all on. Just quick introductions. Where are you all from? What year are you? Stuff like that. Scott, you go ahead first.
Yeah, so I am a senior from Long Island, New York. I grew up an Islanders fan. Came out here, kind of adapted Detroit sports a little bit. Uh, I, 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 I enjoy watching them. Nathan can say that. Nathan can tell me that. I've kind of grown a little bit of a liking to them as well. But I bleed the Islanders when it comes to hockey. I'm a senior mechanical engineering major, and I just do this for fun. It's great to be around some people who have the same interests as you. So I enjoy working with these people every day during the hockey season.
Nathan?
Yeah, so I'm a senior as well. I'm from Troy, Michigan, so Metro Detroit. This will be my second year as a Munsters leader, but I've been following the hockey team for several years now and been going to games since my freshman year. I really enjoy supporting the team and helping them win games by creating a great atmosphere. Yeah.
S- So why don't you all just explain, in case there's anybody out there that don't know what the Munsters are, kind of tell us about it. Tell us how, kind of how you all got started with it as well.
Nathan, you can go first.
Yeah, so the Munsters is the student section for Michigan State hockey. So if you've watched any games, you've surely seen us in our jerseys in the top right hand corner of Munn Arena. Um, yeah. So, well, I'm sorry. What was the other question?
Yeah, yeah. So how did you get started as a Munster?
Yeah. So freshman year, I knew I wanted to go to a lot of hockey games. They're easy to go to Friday and Saturday. So I started going then, and then junior year, I wanted to get more involved. So got in contact with the athletic department, um, and it's been great since then. So really enjoy going to all the games and cheering the team on.
Yeah, so when I obviously came to Michigan State, I didn't have many connections in terms of friends from my hometown because not many people from out east come up to East Lansing for college. But when I got to these hockey games and found like a group of people that I became close with, we sat near one of the old section leaders who was a senior at the time, our freshman year, and I had kind of seen what he did, and I kind of took interest into it a little bit. So I had actually reached out when they first were like, "Oh, let's hire new section leaders or let's appoint new section leaders." Going into next season, and then COVID had happened. So when they had sent out that announcement again prior to our junior years last year, I made sure to reach out again and was super interested and ready to go.
Yeah, and that sounds great. I mean, it's pretty impressive when you see the student section, even though, I mean, let's just be honest, there's been some down years. The student section still seems to come out every single time. Um, and there's some interesting cheers that you all do at certain times. So if you all can, we'll start like this. Walk us through your all's preparation for a game, what you all do beforehand, or if there is prep for you all before games, and then, Scott, if you'll do that, and Nathan, if you will just explain to us when you cheer, what the routine is, or I guess the timeline of your all's job during the game.
Yeah, so traditionally we get there a little bit before gates open. So about an hour 30, hour 15, sometimes a little bit earlier because gates obviously open up an hour beforehand at Mun. Depending on the day, it could be a giveaway, a promotion. We would lay out the cart, like the little gift card or receipt or whatever, on each seat, along with a chant sheet. We would go around our entire corner, work on that. Then, if we have anything important that we needed to talk to the people that we work with the MSU athletics marketing department, we'll go talk to them, catch up with them, even though we probably had spoken to them a couple of times throughout the week. And then gates open at 6 and signs start getting made. The corner gets filled up and we get ready to go ahead of puck drop.
Yeah, so for chants, our big one is the goal chant, which if you've been to any games, I'm sure you've heard. So so if it's the first goal, we hold up one finger, second goal, two fingers. After they announce the goal score, we swing our arms around in a circle and say, whoa, 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 Civ for each time we've scored. So if if it's the second goal, we do that twice. Then we yell Civ repeatedly at the goalie. At the end of the period, we'll thank the announcer for telling us there's 1 minute left. If there's a penalty on the opposing team, we'll wave at the player and yell a continuous "oh," and then once the door to the penalty box closes, we'll yell "see ya." During a power play, or at the end of the power play, sorry, when the PA announcer says "team" or whatever team full strength, we respond with "and they still suck." So in case we don't score. On a successful penalty kill, this is new this year, we're going to start chanting "you suck on the PP."
Shout out to Michigan Tech.
Yeah, we're stealing that from them. But
Yeah.
when the opposing team's goalie takes off their mask during intermission or any stoppage in play, we do a call and response. It's a chant of "ugly goalie," and everyone responds with "hide your children." Then, at 10 minutes left in the period, we count down to
Second
the
period.
10-minute mark, and the second period. I'm sorry, yeah, and chant halftime, and then we sing the MSU fight song. And if the referee makes a bad call, which it's the Big Ten, so there's lots of those,
Yeah.
we repeatedly chant, "I'm blind, I'm deaf, I want to be a ref." So
Those are, yeah, we actually started coming up with some additions or changes today, actually. So it happened to be really funny that we had this podcast going on today. So now you got to hear some of the changes first.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Now, do you all have anything to do with the 9 o'clock on a Saturday?
We have nothing to do with Piano Man. That's all
Okay.
in arena. But
yeah,
we happen to really like it. So when
Yeah.
they do it, we all sing along.
yep,
I like it too. I don't know why. It's not super creative or anything, but for
It's just
some reason I
fun.
do like it.
yeah, it's a fun time to sing it.
Now, I went to a Michigan State game at Notre Dame, and they do this thing that I like, and it is if an adult catches a puck in the stands. I know that this is probably something that happens in more places than Notre Dame. They chant, hold it up," and the adult, stands up, holds it up like it's really cool, and then the second he holds it up, they chant, "Give it to a kid, give it to a kid," to, like, force this person into an awkward position where they have to then turn around and find a child to hand it to, so, um, I like that, I'm not suggesting it or anything, I just thought that you all might enjoy that.
No, I
That's
feel
Um,
fun.
like I feel like our fans are a little bit more considerate about if an adult grabs a puck. Usually they're with their families anyway, so they'll
yeah,
give it to their kid. Or if it's in the student section, the student will take it.
yeah. Now, you all had recently met with, as anyone who's listening to this knows, Michigan State has a new hockey coach, bringing a lot of new life into the program, kind of a breath of fresh air, and the recruiting's well. Everything's going in the right direction right now. But you all met with Coach Knights. Can you tell us a little bit what that conversation was and what your takeaways were?
Yeah, so that conversation we had a couple of weeks ago with the returning section leaders, with Coach Nightingale and some of the marketing staff. We just wanted to introduce ourselves. He got some time to introduce himself, see where we kind of met on common ground, see where we could teach him kind of what we do on a nightly basis at a game. Um, Obviously, he had worked at Michigan State before, so he was familiar with the student section, but it has kind of evolved over time to what it kind of is in its present day. So it was just a good catch up for him. And then obviously with the assistant coaches, we didn't get to meet with them that day. But I know that I've spoken to both Coach DeMichael and Coach Towns, and they're super excited to see what we've got going on a nightly basis in Mon. So that they're all super excited to work with us this year.
Yeah, and Coach Nightingale talked about how the student section is one of their big recruiting pushes.
Yeah.
Even last year when we were down, we repeatedly have more than 1,000 students at games. We actually sold out of student memberships last year, and so he just wanted to reiterate how important it is to have a boisterous fan base in general at Munn, but particularly the student section. And then he was very supportive of all the initiatives we want to do this year in supporting the team. So it was a really good conversation, and we're really excited to be working with him and the rest of the hockey program.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I learned as well when and, I don't want this to come off as boastering in any way, but when I met with or had a, podcast with Coach DeMichael and Coach Towns, they both said, people are gonna see your podcast and stuff, it's a small group of people in the Michigan State hockey community compared to basketball and football, right?
Mhm.
There's not a lot of content creators out there, so recruits are seeing everything that happens surrounding the program, including the student section. So it truly is a big part of recruiting, and it's so obvious when you go somewhere and they have a bad student section. I don't want to say pathetic because well, yeah, I do. It's
Yeah.
kind of pathetic if you can't get your own students to show up and cheer on, the players in whatever sport it is. Um, this is a little off topic, but do you all do any other student sections besides hockey?
Yeah, so actually, surprisingly, we both are involved in one other student section on campus. We work with the Red Cedar Rowdies, which is
Okay.
the official student section for men's and women's soccer. So we both got involved with that last year as well. And it's been a lot of fun this year. I mean, as of recent Tuesday night, we were storming the field after beating Michigan.
Yeah,
So
that was
it
awesome.
was it was a lot of fun, and we got 500 students there that game. It was loud. The entire stadium was into it, and I know that those coaching staffs, both Coach Renzig and Coach Hostler, appreciate the work that we do there. So we get to share our wealth a little bit because the seasons don't 100% overlap, but they do overlap for a little bit, so we got both sports to handle at once. But we love doing both of them, so
Yeah.
really,
Yeah,
it's just fun for us. It's not really just even more stress.
yeah, one of the other section leaders is his own section leader as well, so he's involved with
Okay.
basketball as well. So yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. So I was keeping tabs on that game Tuesday night, and I was seeing all the content coming out about it. It looked awesome. I know I've said this on the podcast before, so if you listen regularly, anybody out there, you're going to hear this again. But so I live in Kentucky, but I come up for games all the time, and I came up a few years ago, and I try to hit it if it's like hockey and football on the same weekend at home, or hockey and basketball, and I actually hit it where it was hockey Friday, Saturday afternoon football, hockey Saturday night, and then Michigan State basketball on Sunday. This is a few years back. And I'm about to go to the basketball game, and it's like snowing a little bit. And the soccer team was playing. And I don't remember if it was Big Ten tournament or it was I don't know what it was. It was really late in the season. And I just went to the game because I just had time to and was burning time. And it was so damn cold, but that student section was awesome. I remember that, like, I think they played Virginia for some reason, so I think they played, and, that student section was lively with the flags and everything. It was cool, so
Yeah.
kudos to you all. Moving back to hockey, how do you all feel about the team that this year and where they are? I know this is talking mostly about the student section, but I do want to discuss some hockey. How are you all feeling about the team?
Yeah, so obviously last year was a big disappointment, and then with the change in coaching staff. But personally, I'm feeling a lot better about the program in general. Recruiting's been a lot better, but for this year in particular, the transfers I think are going to be good. I think we're going to play a more exciting brand of hockey.
Yeah.
Try to attack more, not just sit back. I don't expect to like compete to have a home Big Ten series, but if we can not finish last or finish out of the bottom two, I think would be a pretty big success for the season.
Yeah, I know that just talking to the guys and being next to them, they got stronger, they got faster. I know we watched practice the other day. They definitely looked faster on the ice yesterday than they did at all last season. Um, they they really look like they're ready to prove a lot of people wrong. And with the transfers, like Nathan said, with St. Cyr in goal and Underwood securing the blue line, and the additions up front in in Nolan, Dubinsky, Jalen, Mucha, and I'm blanking on one. Am I blanking on a transfer? Did I get them all?
Say Jalen
Jalen, Dubinsky, Nolan, Musha,
Underwood.
Underwood, St. Cyr. No, yeah, I got all six.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah, so with the transfers, obviously there's a lot of veteran leadership coming in. Underwood played under Towns for the past couple years. So it's some guys that know the system, some guys that don't, some guys that have experience, guys who were leaders on their teams, leading their teams in scoring toward the top of the board in scoring. And I mean, if we saw anything out of Tucker last year as a true freshman, he could only go up from there. So
Yeah, and the roles are going to change. Some of these players were recruited to play a certain system, and maybe they don't fit. Maybe they kind of get pushed out for different players. That's just what happens when coaching changes happen in every sport. And maybe there's some untapped potential. I think a player like Tanner Kelly can can kind of take a step forward this year compared to last year. So you all went to practice. I did not know that. Give us some nuggets here. What did you all see?
So it was attached to the jersey distribution event. So it was just an open practice. We weren't up close. They were just doing the regular training, their day to day work with the coaching staff. So we got to see a little bit, but we were also handing out our jerseys for the year. Then we got to go on the ice after. Coach spoke. We got to mingle with the players for a little bit. But no, it seems like they're ready to play an exciting brand of hockey. They're ready to compete every night. I know this sounds like all rhetoric at this point for any hockey team, but look, I mean, last year was an unfortunate one. And this year, it is the first year under Coach Nightingale, but they want to prove a lot of people wrong in the Big Ten and in the entire country.
Yeah, they I was there late, so I didn't watch a ton, but they spent a decent amount of time working on special teams. Obviously the power play was bad, just bad last year. So, and they looked a lot better. I'll reiterate what Scott said. They looked a lot faster, cleaner. I think the goaltending is going to be good again. So hopefully we'll have a good season.
Yeah, that's one thing that seems to be contagious at Michigan State is good goaltending has been something that they've at least had for the most part. Back to the Munsters discussion now. Do you all help facilitate any road games? I know you can't do like a student section, but do some of you all go to road games together or anything like that?
Yeah, so last year, a few of us went to Michigan for the first game at Yost, and we
Uh-huh.
brought a flag and everything. Um, The big ones this year, we're gonna try to have a decent sized section at the GLI and the Dual and the D. Last year at the Dual, Michigan brought a pretty decent sized student section, and hopefully, if we get some transportation, we can get a decent amount of people there. And then with the GLI on the west side, each school has a designated student section area, so we're hoping to have a decent student presence at that tournament, which we haven't had
Not,
in a very long time.
and obviously, if we can get to some out in conference or out of conference, out of town games. I mean, Michigan is. We were already looking. They sold out our games against them, so we'd be going standing room only again this year, which we did last year. But if we have the time and opportunity to travel to some of these out of conference games this year, or in conference closer games, then maybe we'll take the chance. Maybe we'll do it. It just depends on all our schedule and depends on how many people we can gauge interest to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love going to road games. I've been to a few of the Big Ten ones, and I've been to Ferris State. I'm going to Bowling Green this year, so I'll be loud and proud, even if I'm just a party of one there. And I think I'm going to Miami as well. That's kind of close to me. When I say close, 2 hours. Um, but yeah, so there's just so much excitement around the program, which obviously leads to excitement for students as well. It's probably going to take a couple of years to get, really maxed out. But how many members do you all currently have?
So right now, so last year we maxed out at 1,500, and this year we're maxing out at 1,200. We're within the last 100 available season tickets for the year for students. So we are going to sell out again this year. We're going to have a full crowd. I mean, Saturday night is free admission to all students. You'll see
That's
more
awesome. Yeah.
than the 1,200 student tickets at that game, probably for students. But, the hope is that we can build the section and continue to build the section as the team is continuing to build back to where kind of our expectation are as a top program in NCAA hockey.
How much does it cost, or is it free to join?
So the season ticket, it's $112 this year. It went up $10 from last year. But they do sell single game tickets as well, which are $10, I think. But
10
to
to
be a
12.
10 to 12, depending on what game. But to be a full season member and get into every game and get the jersey, it's $112 for the season.
Sounds like a good deal to me. All right, I'll let you all
Yes.
do a little sales pitch. We got 100 open slots. Is that right?
Could
Yeah,
be
around
less
there.
than that. Yeah.
Around 100 open slots. Let's talk about the benefits of joining. Let's talk about what you all have gained from joining. Let's talk about how to become a Munster.
Yeah, so the benefits are you get to come to what, in my opinion, is the best sporting event on campus. There's 18 home games, so if you go to all or most of them, you get a really good deal. You get a pretty nice jersey that you can wear to all the games. Scott, you got anything?
I mean, it's a really good experience, and if you're a normal student that buys a regular ticket, you cannot come and sit in the student section. In order to be in the
Well,
student section, you need to have a ticket and on your ID and get the bracelet, and they'll allow you down there. But
they do sell single game student tickets
yes,
though. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they do
yes,
that. Yeah, important.
but
They do sell single
yes,
game student
but you
tickets.
can't get like a general admission
Yeah.
ticket in the seats on the other side of the stadium and get your way down there. Um, Obviously, the hope is we can do a couple more things with the team this year in terms of some meet the team events or away tailgate type of things this year if we have that opportunity to, and hopefully that's something we can excuse me provide to the student mass, provide to the 1,200 students and more that'll be getting single game tickets outside the student section. It
Listen,
really is just, it's an experience that you don't get many places. The facilities now, I mean, Nathan and I could tell you the Ron Mason Hall of History is a fantastic addition to this building. Um, the new locker rooms, from what I hear, are close to the top of the entire NCAA, and it's become a huge recruiting pitch. And you could see it. I mean, look, if you want to come and cheer for a fun team, this team will be fun this year. But when you've got the fourth ranked recruiting class in the country for the 2006 birth year right now,
Yeah.
you know that Coach Nightingale and the guys are trying to put together a fun team for the future too.
Listen, it's as simple as this. I wish I was still in college. I'm 29 now, so I'm a bit removed, but man, every time I go, I look over there, I'm just jealous. 18 nights a year, you get to have something to do with a bunch of people with a common interest. It's kind of like joining a fraternity or joining a club or any other team. You can go, especially someone like Scott who comes from somewhere where maybe you don't know many people. For $112, you have something to do. You have a huge, vast opportunity to meet people, develop new relationships. The games are over at a reasonable time. You can still go out to, Rick's or where I don't know where people go these days, but wherever you all go out after the games or whatever, people can still do that. It just sounds like a great experience for everybody involved. Um, so yeah, that's really all that I have today. If you all have any final thoughts on anything else you want to add?
I don't have anything. I just want to thank you, Clay, for having us on, and
Oh, of
really
course.
enjoy listening to the podcast. So it's great,
Yeah,
great to be a guest.
thank you so much for having us, Clay. I know it's a long time coming, but it's great that we were able to do this and especially get it done before the season starts this year. I know that Nathan, myself, and the other 5 section leaders are super stoked to have a full crowd and Mon in the right corner this year, cheering on a team that is gonna be putting on a show for us every night.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. You all are an important part of this team. I'm not just saying that. I really do mean that. If you all ever need any help with anything, especially if you all are going to away games or something, let me know. I'll come and I'll help you all out in any way that I can and help add to the cheering for sure. And so thank you all so much. You've been listening to the Michigan State Hockey Hub. Go Green.